Hello everyone, today another AQA task, trying to do like a little bit at a time, which is how you're meant to work it, so let's see. Task number 9, I was looking at this one, kind of shied away from it initially because it's just a stinker, but it might be worth doing, so let's have a look. I'm just gonna make a copy real quick. And this is z9.py right there. Okay, we've got all... Oh, my computer's very slow. Right, so this is where we want to freeze a number in the target, so a target, right? Not a number of targets, but like freeze a single target that we're going to get asked before an expression. So you're prompted and get the chance to say no before the expression. You will point the target by index. So position 8, that's retarget 82 in the training game, so that's 8 after it's moved once, so like 1 2 3 4 blank ones, 1 2 3 4 82s then, and then when we have something locked, it should be displayed with those angry brackets and not move when the target list updates. So there's update target, play game to kind of the input output, and then displaying the thing. We can only freeze a single number, so I only need a single variable. Which I'm probably going to put, like the index of the number, and maybe like a -1 or a false if we're not locking. All right, so let's have a look. Okay, so in play game, before we enter the expression, we're going to say ask for freezing. So we're going to need to have like 2 different inputs there. We're going to need to change the display target. Yeah, that's the one. Display targets. Yeah, so like conditional here to display frozen targets. Oh, let me just... Yeah, that's going to be better. Now you can see what I'm doing. And the last one was the update target list. Yeah, so in here, this is kind of inside here, we're gonna have to do not move frozen targets. So that means we're gonna need to have a new variable for freezing. I don't think I need to go inside play game, but over here, I just like get the score as a local variable to play game, but it gets passed on to the thing. I will need to have frozen equal false. So ask for the freezing. I'll just leave the comment in here. If not frozen, so if we don't have a number there, f is equal to input, so we're going to input, enter a location to freeze it, return to continue. Don't call it F, let's call it the choice. Do we have... Yeah, that sounds like a good... Because at this stage we don't know what it's going to be like. So this is where I'm going to need to do some input validation, but else. So then we have a number frozen, and we can say choices input. Let's start. Defreeze, defrost, unfreeze, not for. Unfreeze location frozen. I need this as an F string, so F strings in Python, that stands for format string, and then you could put stuff in between bracket, that's actual Python expression. So this is just a variable, but that could even be like an expression with some calculation and so on. Bracket yn. Colon space, always have a little colon space so it looks kind of nice for the input. I think they want us to redisplay the, whoa, let's not zoom too much. That's not 7, we want 9. Yeah, we want display state. One frozen anytime can be a freeze on freeze number as part of the turn. Display the state of the game again to confirm the update with the frozen number shown. That's the thing I wanted, right? So the display state is here. We're gonna do that. So display state is gonna need to have the frozen as well. Because we don't access display targets directly, we just have display state that's going to need to pass frozen to display target. So in here, right, if I'm going to use the regular expression to, so there was like in search, yeah, so this here, that regular expression, that kind of calling the search method of RE, the RE package, the regular expression, meaning one or more digits, and the string is only one or more digits, and is not none means we find this at least once in that variable. So let's reuse this wholesale. I need to find some regular expression based task. I've not found a lot. I've not gone very far in this. It gets kind of more and more concerning. So it's not item, is choice. So that means user has input a number. And if the user has input a number, we are going to check first that it's kind of like choice becomes equal, we cast it to an integer. And then if choice, so there's like a max target, there's a target, so we have a max target as a variable, but the targets list is always a 20 long expression number. So this is going to be indexed from 1, whereas we're going to be indexed from 0. So we're going to, okay, so if not, so you can validate that a number is in between two other numbers in one line of Python by having both expressions in there. So if I want this to be between 1, I need to put the spaces in the right place, obviously. If the choice is not between 1 and 20, which I think is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blank ones. 1, 2, 5, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 numbers in the target list. So if it's out of range, we are going to just continue. Actually, let's kind of do it the right way around. So if the choice is in the range, we say frozen becomes equal to choice, and we are going to display the state again. Targets, numbers, allowed, score, frozen, let it go, else indexing, just that indexing start one, or like the value location is 1, not 0. That's just an error message. We're not redisplaying the state, we're fine. If we have a frozen number already, we are going to do if choice.upper is equal to a big Y, then we are going to set frozen to false to reset it. False or none? False. What's important here, right, is that because we are asking for in kind of human index, right, like with the first one on the, I guess on this side, from your point of view, being 1, not 0, it means that frozen will never be 0, which means that frozen, it's either false or a number, meaning that when we test for frozen here, we guaranteed that we're not going to accidentally, right? You can't freeze number 0 and Python will think that frozen is false, right? So we set frozen to false and then again display the state, which I now have conveniently copyable and pastable. Oops. Right. If we're not frozen, we get given a choice. We verify that it's an input. We cast it to init. We verify it's in the right range, and then we set frozen to the choice. We will display the state, and otherwise we just we're not gonna loop around because I can't be bothered, and we're not asked to it. But you could have a the classic input validation loop with valid equals false and while not valid, etc. And then else, that means we have a number frozen. Then we ask whether we want to unfreeze the location at frozen. And if it's yes, we unfreeze it, meaning we set it back to false, and we display the state. That should take care of the actual user input of freezing and unfreezing. Let's have a look now at display state, because I've already made, made it accept another variable. So this is going to take frozen and pass it just straight to display targets, and display targets frozen. Ditto display targets frozen. And so here we're doing for T in targets. This is annoying. This is super annoying. So we here T is taking the value of the target. It's not taking. We're not going by indices. So we're gonna rename this if I in length. No, in range. The classic one, right? Range of length of targets. Closing that. I'm gonna change those. No, with the capitals. Surely that's capital. Fine. Okay, whatever. So this is not T anymore. This we need to explicitly get the value, right? The whatever value is at index I, targets I, and so we can't freeze a blank one. Oh, this is annoying. We're gonna need to kind of like make sure we can't freeze a blank one, but okay, like solving one problem at a time, right? So if I have this, otherwise we kind of print or print. We kind of need. Oh gosh, this is just bloody annoying. Okay, so instead of doing I'm going to do an S string. The string to display is equal to this, and here the string to display is equal to targets. Yeah, except it's targets I cast to a string, right? Which is what this kind of is going to be doing. So I'm removing the prints and I'm getting an S, and here I'm going to print S and equal nothing, right? With no separator. So we're just going to like print on the line one after the other. The key here is that whichever way I got this string S, whether it was a blank slot in the target carousel or not, this is where I want to do if frozen, excellent, if frozen plus 1 is equal to in the index, right? Because so the user is going to give a location that starts at 1 in kind of human numbers, and then we just, no, that's not right. It's frozen -1, isn't it? Yeah, okay, it's frozen -1. So if if I'm freezing the first target, that's frozen is equal to 1, but I is going to be equal to 0. So if frozen is equal to I plus 1, we have a frozen target, and S becomes equal to this plus S plus the kind of brace, and then we just print it. Is that gonna work? Don't know. We could find out. I think I'm not gonna have the display stuff, but I might have something good enough to test, or like check I've not kind of got a big ugly bug and it's breaking, which I really encourage you to. Let's use the training one. So if I say 8, boom, it's frozen 140, and as it's not moved along, right? This is just redisplaying the thing, but now we're kind of entering an expression. So if I do, was it like 256 divide 8, 64, plus 2 to get 68, I'm clearing, I've completely failed. Oh, it's 512, duh. Do I want to unfreeze location 8? If I say no, it stays frozen. Oh, I should have redisplayed the thing. Well, no, we don't, because we don't change the state, so we don't display it. Try again, 512 divide 8, that's 64. So ready to a of 2, plus 2, boom, captured this one. Now, because it's location 8 that's frozen, and we've not done the actual freezing logic where it doesn't move along, then now the one that's thing. But if I want to unfreeze this, it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't seem to have worked because I've forgotten to redisplay the state. I can't do 512. No, it's the same. 512. 8 plus 3 minus 2. That's the 9. The unfreezing doesn't work. The thawing. Okay, so let's go back to play game. What's going on in my thing here? Right, I'm just going to put a breakpoint here and test it again. Training. Oh, no. No. I wish it put the focus in the bottom window when I'm obviously doing something in the bottom window. Right, so if the location says 8, and everyone's very happy, and now I going for 20. 8 times 3. 8 times 3 minus 2 divide 2, would that work? Oh, yeah, so I caught the first one, and the 8 was frozen, which was 140, and now it's 82, so we don't think. Let's see about the freeze. If I say yes here, oh, I've not run in debug mode. Okay, in debug mode, please. Yes, with the Python debugger, because it's Python code and the currently active Python file. Oh, it still has my breakpoint in the other task. Okay, so don't need this, don't need either. And I've just got this one. All right, the training game. We're gonna freeze location 8. I'm gonna 8 times 3 plus minus 2 divide 2. I say yes here. Ah, okay, excellent. Choice equal y, right? And frozen is 8, fair enough. So do we go into that branch? Because it doesn't look like we are. Oh, that's my problem. All right, so this is a gotcha. You gotta be very careful about this. If you're moving fast, you're not really paying enough attention, it's really easy to do this, which is actually not called a method, because this is an object, because, as you know, subroutines, method, functions are first-class objects, so you can grab print. If you get print without the brackets, that's a print object that you can test, you can assign it to something else to disidentify, etc. So what we want is this, right? Watch out, sometimes you forgot the bracket. The problem you have here is that Python won't break. Like, whereas it's clearly what you meant to do, and other, may I say, lesser languages will throw an error, this will behave as it should, because this is a variable. So this might be a bug you might be searching for a little while, which is quite annoying. So now it should be working. I'm not going to test it again, I'm confident. Let's have a look at the update the target list. Oh, not like that. Okay. Update targets is here. Yeah, we have a display, we find the display needs this one. Don't have an equal to display state outside of here, 4 of them. Yeah, the 2 more are added, and then the definition. Okay, so they're all added with frozen. The one I want to have the accept the targets equal update target, frozen. So in update targets, find this one. Here we accept the new frozen parameters, and then here now we have an actual index. So if count plus 1, if the indexation is equal to frozen, okay, so I have a little bit of a think ahead here, right? So if I get the list and I'm moving forward to the list forward, right? Because there's another task I was iterating backwards or something, but here we're iterating forwards. I'm going to encounter the frozen one before I move the next one. So if... Nah, I'm going to encounter the one before the frozen one, into which I shouldn't move the frozen one, but the one plus 2. So if count is equal to frozen, that is... Okay, so I've said that, let's say I want to freeze number 8, like the example we had. That means it's the one at index 7, as we've understood, right? So, shoot. So when I'm at index 6... So if count plus 2 is equal to frozen, right? So I'm like, there's like, you know, item before the frozen one. We are going to actually do it at count plus 2. No. No, still no. Still no. What am I not, are we not doing copy and paste anymore? What's happening? Can I just not copy? Okay, just I could type it by hand. No, not true. So if count plus 2 equals frozen, before the frozen one, then the one that's before the frozen one should become equal to targets, not count plus 1, because that's frozen, but count plus 2. If, so elif, oh, that's the problem. There's a problem there. I don't know if that's the problem, but there is one. Okay, my indentation has gone all over the place. Right, so, okay. Elif count plus 1 equal frozen. Frozen item. Don't touch it. Just do nothing. Which I guess is, yeah, we don't need, I mean, like, you know, pass. And for anything else, then we do the normal incrementation. And okay, broken everything. Just like, okay, let's run it. Let's run it. I get this. Right, so they wanted to so first we're not going to freeze, and we are going to enter our good old friend 512 divide 8 plus 2 plus 2. Takes care of the 64, and then I'm going to freeze the 8. 82 is frozen. I can now say 8 times 3 plus 2 divide 2. Oh yes, all right, okay, nice. 1, 2, 3 blank ones. The 23 has moved, so I've not managed to, it's minus 2 divide 2, that's why. But the 82 is frozen. If I unfreeze location 8, it gets back there. Not bad, right? I think that's the, okay, I'm having trouble. Okay, let's verify it with the actual test plan. When scheduled program, Y for training game, we decline the offer to freeze the number, we type the 512. That takes over 64, we freeze position 8, and then it does, is that the... oh no, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 blank ones, 3 full one, 82, and now if we do 8 plus 3 minus 2, that captures the 9, moves everything forward, so the 121 has moved to that side, and as per here, yeah, and that's all, yeah, it works. I'm just, I should hide my surprise, but it appears to work, much to, completely unexplainable, but it looks like I've actually done the task that was asked of me. As puzzled as you are, friends. Compare selected, that is the diff. All right, whoa. Yeah, all right, okay. We get a load of change to play game. We get this new frozen variable that gets passed to display state and gets passed to update targets. So update targets, the display changes are here. we pass this. I've had to change, we pass the display state, you know, frozen, we pass it to target. I've had to change the way I've had to iterate over an explicit iterator rather than the elements. So we can, by index, with a little bit of plus one, minus one, freeze it like this. Let's go back here. This is all the input stuff to freeze and unfreeze, which is kind of, you know, maybe kind of time consuming, but I don't know if that was particularly necessary. I've not tested that anyway. You get your unfreeze. You can only freeze or unfreeze one, and every time the state changes, you display the state. So if I've not chosen to freeze, I don't redisplay the state. If I made an invalid location, I don't redisplay the state. And if I've not chosen to unfreeze, I don't display the state again. And finally, the meat of it is in update targets, whereby we have the frozen variable as an attribute, and then we check in our explicit iteration with count, the integer iterator. If we are before the frozen one, we grab the one after. Ooh, this is gonna break if we freeze something at the very end, but to be fair, that's not what they've asked. But you know, let's have a little bonus and see. Right, so what I mean by this, if I go in here and fine, no. If I go in here and I want to freeze location 20, and then I do something like 8 plus 3 minus 2, boom, this index is out of range. So I kind of need to append So this just like reduplicates what we've got in the last one. So if you clear the 119, it should kind of give you only blank things, but this pops. What does that do? That pops the end? Yeah, so if I kind of had like if I had this here, then I know I would have kind of appended. No, I wouldn't actually, because crikey. So this removes the last one and replaces it by a yeah, because it goes up to -1. So the problem, right, is that when we had the last element, what we would like to kind of when we freeze the last element, as we kind of iterate forward, and when the penultimate element, what we want is whatever's going to come out there, except we don't know what it is because we've not kind of replaced the thing yet. Maybe I just said it doesn't work and you can't freeze the last element. I think, like, I don't know, like this is half an hour video, but like you would have to do if the count, if frozen in that instance is equal to 20 was the very last one. Yeah, we can compare false to 20, that's not going to matter. So if in here we're going to need to say, just going to like copy basically this. If we're in a training game, the targets count No, 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 I don't like that. All right, so what I can do is that if the frozen is the last element, then we can simply proceed as normal. Like basically plop it out, so I plop it out, and then proceed as normal with updating the list, and then just like tack it back at the end as always the last element that doesn't changed. So if frozen we pop the last one, and then we're also going to pop the front, I guess. That's the thing we're doing. So we've popped 2, and we kind of need to re-add 2, I guess, right? So we're going to need to re-add a new one, which is this code. And then finally, targets happened F. This is just bad. I wish I hadn't gone into this big thing. And I'm going to put all of this into the L's, which I'm not super happy about this, I'm very honest, but let's say 2U here. Like 2 breakpoints, is that what we're talking about? Or 2, U? Oh, updated, right, it's kind of the version control, whatever. Okay, so let's try this tentatively. And if I freeze the last one, I've frozen 119, and if I say get the 23s, which is, get that right this time, 8 times 3, 24, minus 2 divide 2. Whoa, oh yeah, okay, I've messed this up here, fair enough. Yeah, that's my problem here. And Control Shift F, I just want it here. Okay, back here, freeze the last one, and then 8 multiply 3 minus 2 divide 2. Okay, so a lot has happened here, right? So 23 has been cleared. Okay, because 23 has been cleared, the last one is blank, and when the last one is blank, then because it copies the last one, this is what it does. Let's say let's unfreeze this one, right? And so now on 119, gonna catch some more stuff. 512 divide 8 plus 2 plus 2. Right. Now let's use the 119 that I had. Let's freeze 20 again. And just to confirm, and then if I get 8, say 8 plus 3 minus 2 to get the 9, boom, this is now 119 because this is what it would have created at the end of this, being identical to the last active, non-frozen one. And so that's a long one. Now, you never encounter those on the day in the exam, that's so important, but equally, like knowing how those things work, like indexing -1, the logic of the filling of the update targets, the logic of display target doesn't have much logic. Yeah, and kind of like particularly the architecture of the whole program with the kind of stuff where you have to, pass variables in and out of the functions. So this new frozen thing, because it affects display state, you need to kind of pass it along display and update, and then display itself will pass it to, yeah, this display state will pass it to display target. Okay, that was way too long, but then that's the ZigZag tasks, right? So you just can only play the hand you are dealt. Until next time, friends.